بسم الله والحمد لله الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تمسك بسنته بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending the salutations upon the Messenger alayhi salatu wassalam, and upon his family, his companions, and upon all those who follow upon his guidance into the establishment of the last day. To proceed, ya ikhwan, Allahumma inna na'udhu bika min ilmin la yanfa' wa min qalbin la yakhsha' wa min nafsin la tashba' wa min du'a'in la yusma'. Verily, ya Allah, we seek refuge with you from knowledge that has no benefit, and from a heart that has no fear, and from a soul that has no satisfaction nor contentment, and from a dua that goes unanswered. From a dua that goes unanswered. To proceed, يا إخوان، ونواصل معكم في هذه الليلة المباركة الكريمة عونا من الرحمن الرحيم. So we continue this blessed and noble night of ours, seeking the aid and the assistance of our Lord, the most merciful, the most compassionate. ماذا مستفيدين مع فضيلة الشيخ الإمام الشيخ صالح الفوزان حفظه الله وسلمه الله من كل سوء ومكروه. As we continue to learn, educate ourselves, deriving benefit from the speech of the noble Imam Al-Allama Sheikh Saleh Al-Fawzan, may Allah preserve him, من كتابه المبارك, and or from his noble book, his blessed book, Al-Mulakhas Al-Fiqhi, the summary of Islamic jurisprudence, the summary of Islamic understanding, or you can also say the summary of Al-Fiqh. فلا نزال في باب في السواك وخصال الفطرة. And we're still in the chapter, يا إخوان, the chapter of the miswak, the siwak, and the خصال الفطرة, the natural disposition, the ماذا, the qualities of the natural disposition. قال بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وفي الصحيحين أي البخاري ومسلم رحمهما الله تعالى. Imam al-Fawzani mentions, and it's been mentioned or collected in the Sahih of Al-Imam on the Sahihain, meaning the authentic compilation of Al-Bukhari and Al-Imam Muslim. عن عبد الله بن عمر رضي الله عنهما مرفوعا, on the authority of Abdullah ibn Umar مرفوعا, فائدة, a benefit. هذه الكلمة مرفوعا أي يرفع هذا الحديث إلى النبي. This phrase here مرفوعا من ناحية الحديث, from the angle of the hadith of the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام, it means that this hadith has been attributed and elevated to the Messenger عليه الصلاة والسلام. عليه الصلاة والسلام. قال مرفوعا is elevated to the Prophet of Allah. قال أحفوا الشوارب وأعفوا اللحى الحديث. The Messenger of Allah, he says, أحفوا الشوارب, remove or lessen your mustache, وأعفوا اللحى, and allow your beards or leave your beards. وأعفوا اللحى, just leave your beards alone. هذا الحديث صحيح, this hadith is authentic, وهو عند البخاري ومسلم رحمهم الله تعالى, and it's collected by the two great Imams, Al-Bukhari wal-Imam Muslim رحمهم الله تعالى, may Allah have mercy upon both of them. فالإمام الفوزان يبين لنا يا إخوان أن إحفاء الشوارع وأن إعفاء اللحية من الفطرة. So the Imam al-Fawzan here is clarifying for us that lessening your mustache, trimming your mustache, and leaving your beard are both from the natural dispositions, from the fitrah, the natural fitrah. قال حفظه الله تعالى. So the Imam continues. قال من هذه الأحاديث وما جاء بمعناها أخذ الفقهاء الأحكام التالية. So he said a tremendous point. From the likes of these ahadith and that which has the meanings of these hadith, the scholars of al-fiqh, they derive al-ahkam, some rulings, التالية, the following rulings. طيب فائدة ثانية, benefit number 2 يا إخوان, أن الإمام الفوزان هو من الفقهاء لكن قال أخذ الفقهاء, وهذا عظيم جدا. So Imam al-Fawzan, firstly, he is from the scholars of al-fiqh, but here he says the scholars of al-fiqh, they say. وسئل عن أحسن كتب من تعليفاته فقال كلاما بمعنى لا أنا صغير أترك كتبي واقرأوا من كتب العلماء أو كما قال حفظه الله تعالى. There was a question posed to the Sheikh al-Fawzan, and the questioner said, Ya Sheikh, from your books that you author, mention some of the books you recommend us to read. The Sheikh says, Min kutubi, from my books? They said, yes. He said, no. I'm little, I'm small, I'm a student of knowledge. Read the books of the ulama. Allahu Akbar. نستفيد من هذا يا إخوان. We could benefit from that statement. عدة فوائد, many benefits. وعلى رأسها تواضع. At the head of these benefits is humbleness and humility يا إخوان. فأكثرنا ما حفظ شيئا من الكتاب ولا من سنة النبي. لكن عندما ننظر إلى أنفسنا في المرآة كأننا ننظر إلى أبي بكر الصديق أو عمر أو علي أو الإمام أحمد أو ابن تيمية أو غيرهم رحمهم الله تعالى. Most of us haven't memorized anything from the Quran. Most of us haven't studied anything from the hadith of the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam. However, when we look in the mirror at ourselves, we don't see ourselves. We see someone else. It's as if we see Abu Bakr when we look in the mirror. It's as if we see Umar when we look in the mirror. It's as if we see Ali, Uthman, Al-Imam Ahmad, Ibn Taymiyyah, or the likes. فعلى رأس هذه الفوائد أو على رأس هذه الفائدة التواضع. So at the head of this tremendous benefit is the humbleness يا أخوان. Humbleness. نرى أنفسنا فوق والعلماء يرون أنفسهم تحت. الله أكبر. We see ourselves to be high, elevated, when the scholars see themselves to be low. الله أكبر. نسأل الله تعالى أن يجعلنا وإياكم من المتواضعين. And we ask that Allah makes us and you from those who are humble. From those who are humble. قال بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. منها, from these rulings, مشروعية السواك. Ruling number 1, that using the miswak is legislated. ما معنى هذا? What does that mean يا إخوان? إذا نرى أن شيئا ما مشروع فهو من الكتاب والسنة. من الكتاب والسنة. What does this mean that the thing is legislated? This means whatever you're talking about, it is from the Quran and Sunnah. فلا يكون مباحا, so it's not allowed. لا, هو مشروع, is legislated. فيستحب استخدامه, so it's highly recommended to use it. It's highly recommended to use it. فإذا أقول لكم ما حكم النكاح فتقولوا النكاح مشروع. If I say to you مثلا, for example, what's the ruling on getting married? And you say getting married is legislated. أقول لكم ما حكم النقاب فتقولوا النقاب مشروع. I say what's the ruling on the woman covering her face? And you say covering her face is legislated. أقول ما حكم ركعتي الفجر What's the ruling on praying 2 raka'ah before you pray Fajr? وتقول هي المشروعة, and you say it is legislated. فالمشروع فوق الإباحة. معنى المشروع أنه يؤخذ من الكتاب والسنة. من الكتاب والسنة. So the meaning of something is legislated means it has been derived from the Quran and the Sunnah. Wallahu alam. And Allah knows best. قال هو استعمال عود أو نحوه في الأسنان واللثة ليذهب ما علق بهما من صفرة ورائحة. He says, in the meaning of it, what is this miswak? It's a piece of oud. It's a piece of a branch. It's a piece of a stick or a branch of some sort. أو نحوه, or the likes of it. في الأسنان, and you use it on your teeth. واللثة, and the gums around your mouth. ليذهب ما علق بهما من صفرة ورائحة, and you use it in order to remove the bacteria, to remove that which is filthy in your mouth and an offensive smell. قال الإمام الفوزان. So Imam al-Fawzani continues. قال وقد ورد أنه من سنن المرسلين. And he says it has been mentioned that the miswak is from the sunan of the prophets. Allahu Akbar. فنستفيد من هذه يا إخوان أنه مشروع نعم وهو كذلك سنة من سنن المرسلين. So we benefit here that using the miswak. ما عندي miswak الآن يا إخوان. I don't have a miswak to show. But using the miswak, not only is it legislated, but it's a sunnah of the prophets. It's a sunnah of the prophets. فإذا العبد لا يحبه مثلا أو لا أقول لا يحبه هو لا يريد أن يستخدمه. If a person doesn't love the miswak, and I'll change my speech, I won't say he doesn't love it. He doesn't like to use it. He doesn't like to use it. هل يجب عليه استخدامه? Is it obligatory upon him or her to use it? من يجيبه? Who can answer? هل استخدام السواك واجب استخداما على المسلمين أو على غير المسلمين? Is using the miswak obligatory upon the Muslims or upon other than the Muslims? Or يستحب, or is highly recommended? من يجيب? Who can answer? Is using the miswak obligatory or recommended or allowed or hated? لا تدري. Is it allowed? Is it hated? Is it ماذا? Is it recommended? Is it haram? I'll say it's allowed, but I prefer to use the toothbrush. طيب يجوز يا إخوانا تفضيل. It's allowed to prefer something. لا بأس. هذا لا يدل على شيء. That doesn't show anything يا إخوان. طيب هو مشروع كما قلنا. هو مستحب. Is legislated as we mentioned. It's highly recommended to do so. ليس على الوجوب. So it's not obligatory. فإذا العبد لا يريد أن يستخدمه ليس عليه أن يستخدمه. So if the servant does not want to use it, he doesn't have to use it يا إخوان. لكن استخدامه أفضل. But it's better to use it. لماذا? Why is it better to use it? أولا هو مشروع. Firstly, it's legislated. ثانيا هو سنة من سنن المرسلين كما قالها هنا. Second of all, it's a sunnah of the prophets and messengers, as the Imam mentions here. فإذا العبد يستخدم السواك مثلا بنية التتبع بنية الإتباع فهو الآن وله الإخلاص فهو مأجور. So if the servant is using ماذا? The siwak, and he has the intention of following the sunnah. Any sincere, what happens to him or her? He gets a reward. وَهَذَا لِلنِّسَاءِ وَلِلرِّجَالِ. And this is for the men, or rather, the women and the men. إذا المرأة تستخدم السواك وهي مخلصة لله تعالى متبعا وهي تنوي اتباع السنة فهي مأجورة عند الله تعالى. So if the woman, the sister, she's using the miswak to cleanse her mouth, and her gums, and her tongue, and her lips, and the likes, and she's sincere, doing so for Allah's sake, following the sunnah in doing so, then she's rewarded in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَكَذَلِكَ الرَّجُلُ. Likewise the man. Likewise the man. وإذا العبد لا يرى أن السواك يطهر فمه كما يطهره أو كما تطهره فرشة الأسنان إذا يجمع بينهما فلا بأس بذلك يا إخوان. And if the person sees that the miswak is a sunnah, but I don't think it gets my mouth as clean as the toothbrush, so he uses the toothbrush and the miswak, there's no harm in that. There's no harm in that. قال بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فأول من استاك إبراهيم عليه الصلاة والسلام. He says, and the first one to use a miswak was Ibrahim. May the peace and salutation of Allah be upon him. وقد بين الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه مطهرة للفم. And the Messenger of Allah, he explained to us, he mentioned to us that the miswak is a purifier of the mouth. It cleanses, it purifies the mouth. أي منظف له. Imam al-Fauzan, he says, meaning it cleanses it. مما يستكره. مما يستكره. It cleanses it from what? From those things that are offensive. Bad smells. أحيانا العبد هو يأتي إليك يتكلم إليك وتستنكر الرائحة التي تخرج من فيه. Sometimes you're talking to someone, the man comes to you and he's talking and he has an offensive breath. So you're offended by what comes forth from his mouth. فالسواك يطهر الفم من مثل هذا. So the miswak cleanses the mouth from the likes of that. قال وأنه مرضات للرب. And the Messenger of Allah also mentions, and it pleases your Lord. هذا لماذا قلنا ويقول العلماء أن استخدام السواك أفضل وأولى من استخدام فرشة الأسنان. This is why we say, and the scholars of Islam, they say, using the miswak is better than using the toothbrush. Why? كلاهما مطهرتان للفم. They both purify the mouth. Yes. لكن السواك يا إخوان مرضات للرب. But the miswak pleases the Lord, pleases the Creator subhanahu wa ta'ala. فمن هذا الباب استخدام السواك أولى. So from this angle alone, using the miswak is better. Using the miswak is better. فبين النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام صفتين وهما تتعلقان بالسواك. So here the Prophet is explaining to us two qualities that are connected to the miswak. قد يقول السائل الفرشة له نفس صفتان أو نفس صفتين. الجواب لا. A person may say to you, the toothbrush has the same two qualities. The answer is no. الفرشة له أو لها تنظيف هي منظفة للفم. نعم صحيح لكن لا تكون مرضاة للرب. The toothbrush, yes, it can cleanse your mouth. Yes, it can purify your mouth. Yes, but it's not pleasing to the Lord. It does not bring Allah's favor like the miswak does. كما قال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. فمن هذا الباب نقول كما قال العلماء حفظهم الله رحمهم الله أن استخدام السواك أفضل. أن استخدام السواك أفضل. So this is why we say, as a people of knowledge, they say using the miswak is better. Using the miswak is better. والله أعلم. And Allah knows best. قال وأنه مرضاة للرب. He says, and the miswak, it pleases the Lord. أي يرضي الرب تبارك وتعالى. He says, meaning it brings pleasure. It pleases the Lord, the Most High, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. وقد ورد في بيانه والحث عليه أكثر من 100 حديث فائدة عظيمة جدا فاحفظوها إن شئتم. Then the Imam al-Fauzan, he brings a tremendous benefit. Somebody memorize this benefit if you wish. He says, it has been narrated regarding the virtues of the miswak, regarding the clarification of the miswak, more than 100 ahadith. More than 100 ahadith. مما يدل على أنه سنة مؤكدة حث الشارع عليه. In these hadith, they show up that using a miswak is a affirmed sunnah. And the legislation of al-Islam encourages it. The legislation of al-Islam encourages the person to use the miswak. وَرَغَّبَ فِيهِ. And the legislation motivates and encourages the person to use it. وَلَهُ فَوَائِدٌ عَظِيمَةٌ. And using the miswak has tremendous benefits. من أعظمها وأجمعها ما أشار إليه من هذا الحديث. And the greatest of these benefits and the most comprising of these benefits is that which this hadith alludes to or points to, as the Messenger of Allah says, as-siwaku mataharatun lil-fam maradatun lil-rabb. That the miswak, it is a purifier of the mouth and it pleases the Lord. فإذا العبد مثلا يريد أن يطهر فمه وأن يرضي الرب عليه بالسواك. عليه بالسواك. So the person wants to purify his mouth and at the same time please his Lord. It's upon him to use the miswak. To use the miswak. واستخدام المسواك يا إخوان يستحب في كل تغيير الفم أو في كل تغيير الرائحة من الفم. And it's recommended to use the miswak every time your breath changes. وهذا للرجال مثلا قبل أن يدخل العبد الرجل على عائلته يستحب له أن يطهر فمه بالسواك. And for the men, before they come to their wives, their families, it's recommended as you spruce yourself up, you put on some little mashallah, some little perfume, cologne or oil rather. يستحب لك كذلك قبل أن تدخل على عائلتك وزوجتك مثلا ونسائك أن تستخدم السواك في كل تغيير رائحة الفم. So before you come upon your women, your wives, your family, it's recommended that you use the miswak. You use the miswak. فأحيانا يا إخوان ننسى أنه يستحب لنا كذلك أن نجمل أنفسنا قبل أن ندخل عليهن كما نحن نريدهن أن يجملن أنفسهن لنا. And sometimes us and some other brothers may get offended here. لكن الحق الحق, but the truth is the truth, يا إخوان. Sometimes us, the men, myself included, we forget the same way we want the woman to spruce herself up and to do something with her hair, take those curlers out, get that little crust stuff from her mouth and the likes, change her little pajamas. and to, mashallah, spruce ourselves up for the men. We forget that the same recommendation as upon them to do that is also upon us to spruce ourselves up and to beautify ourselves also for the women. فَلَنَا عَلَيْهِنَّ الْحَقِّ وَلَهُنَّ عَلَيْنَا حَقٌّ. So they have right upon us and we have right upon them, يا إخوان. وَأَحْيَانًا الرَّجُلُ يَنْسَى نَفْسَ الْقَوْلِ ضِدُّ نَفْسَ الْقَوْلِ ضِدُّ. And sometimes the men, we forget the same thing we're saying. Hey, honey, those curls, those pajamas, this, and this. The same advice we're trying to give, we can also accept. It's also for us, likewise. It's also for us, likewise. طيب قال بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The Imam continues. ويكون تسوق بعود لين من أراك وزيتوت أو عرجون أو غيره أو غيرها مما لا يتفتت ولا يفرح الفم ولا يجرح الفم. He says, and the siwak is something that is from, it can be from a oud, that type of oud branch, layyin, and it can be soft, min arakin, it can also be from arak, another type of stick or branch. It can also be from the zaytun, the twigs. It can also be from the urjun, different types that the Imam is explaining that the miswak can be derived from, or other than that, from those things that it will not harm the mouth. For example, you can use it to cleanse the mouth. وَيُسَنُّ سِوَاكُ فِي جِمِيعِ الْأَوْقَاتِ. And it's a sunnah is recommended to use at all times. At all times you can use the miswak. حَتَّى لِلصَّائِمِ فِي جِمِيعِ الْيَوْمِ. Even for the one that is fasting, he can use it all day. وهو صائم, while he's fasting. على صحيح, from the strongest opinion of the people of knowledge. فائدة ثالثة, benefit number 3. أحيانا نرى أن العلماء يختلفون والإمام الفوزان لا يدخل عميقا جدا في الاختلاف، لا يذكرها ثم يذكر الراجح عنده. هو مثل الإمام السعدي في هذا الباب، مثل الإمام ابن باز في هذا الباب. Sometimes for those that read the works of Sheikh Fauzan and listen to his audios, he mentions that the scholars differ, but he doesn't get all the way into the ikhtilafat. No, he doesn't give you there's 7 opinions, this sheikh said this other sheikh said that, this his adillah. No, he doesn't do it like that. He mentioned that the scholars differ, and then he usually gives you what he feels is the strongest. He's like a Sa'di here. He's like Ibn Baz here. Al-Imam al-Uthaymeen rahimahullah mukhtalif. Imam al-Uthaymeen is different. هو يقول فيه الاختلاف. He says the scholars differ here. ثم يأتي بكل أقوال في هذا الاختلاف وبدليلهم وباستدلالاتهم وبالراجح والمرجوح. وهذا الإمام العثيمين رحمه الله تعالى. Sheikh Uthaymeen is different. As-Sa'di is general. Sheikh Ibn Baz is general. Sheikh Fauzan is general. They just say what? The scholars differ. And the strongest to me is A. All 3 of them share that. Sheikh Uthaymeen is different. He comes, he chops it up. MashaAllah. He says the scholars differ. There are 8 positions here. Then he gives you all 8 of them. MashaAllah. Then he gives you all their proofs. Allahu Akbar. Then he chops it up. This proof is weak. Why is it weak? This proof is okay, but it's not that strong. This proof is the strongest. Why is it the strongest? And then he gives you the strongest in his opinion. Allahu Akbar. No. Wallahu alam. In Allah knows. Qala ala sahih. So he says the fasting person can use the miswak all day long based upon what's most correct. Meaning, العلماء يختلفون, the scholars differ. وهو من الذين يرون أن استخدام السواك جائز ومستحب للصائم, meaning that the scholars differ. But Imam al-Fawzan is from those that have the point of view that the one that's fasting, he is allowed or is recommended for him to use the miswak. قالوا يتأكد في أوقات مخصوصة, and is more greater to be used at certain special times. مثلا, for example, فيتأكد عند الوضوء is better to be used, is more emphasized, if I can say that, to be used when the person is making wudu. When the person is making wudu. لقول النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام, based upon the statement of the Messenger عليه الصلاة والسلام, and with the Messenger عليه الصلاة والسلام, he says, لولا أن أشق على أمتي لأمرتهم بالسواك عند كل وضوء. The Messenger of Allah, he says, listen to this hadith. لولا أن أشق على أمتي, had it not been a difficulty upon my nation, لأمرتهم بالسواك عند كل الوضوء, I would have commanded them, my nation, to use the miswak every time they make wudu. Every time they make wudu. هذا الحديث صحيح وهو عند الإمام أحمد من حديث أبي هريرة. This hadith is authentic and is collected by Imam Ahmad in his Musnad, narrated by Abu Hurairah. فقول النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام لأمرتهم يدل على أهمية السواك وفضل السواك عند كل وضوء. عند كل وضوء. So the statement of the Messenger of Allah, I would have commanded them to use it. This shows the importance of the wudu, importance of the miswak. And it shows the virtues of using the miswak when you make wudu. When you make wudu. فالسواك جائز في كل وقت لكن يتأكد عند الوضوء. So the miswak is allowed at any time, but it's more enforced when the person is making wudu. When the person is making wudu. قال فالحديث يدل على تأكد استحباب السواك عند الوضوء. So he says this hadith shows the emphasis of the recommendation of using the miswak while making wudu or at the time of wudu. ويكون ذلك حال المضمضة. And Imam al-Fauzan, he says, when do you use the miswak here? He says you use it when you're putting the water in your mouth. This is when you use the miswak. وقال بعض العلماء قبل الوضوء أو في المضمضة أو بعد الوضوء. Some scholars, they differ. They say you can use it before you start your wudu. You can use it while you're making the madmada. You put in the water in your mouth, spitting it out, and you can use the miswak after you make your wudu. لأن النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام قال عند الوضوء, because the Prophet said, or عند كل وضوء, that you use it with every wudu. قال الإمام الفوزان لأن ذلك أبلغ في الإنقاء وتنظيف الفم. He says because this is better, this is more, it is more, it does a better job with regards to inqa, to remove those impurities and to make the tanleef of the fem, to purify the fem. If you use it while you're making the tamadmada, you use it at that time, according to Imam al-Fauzan, this is better. This is better regarding to cleanse your mouth at that time. ويتأكد السواك أيضا عند الصلاة. Another time that is highly enforced or recommended, the recommendation is more emphasized to use the miswak, is at the prayer. At the prayer. فرضا أو نفلا, if the prayer is obligatory or if it's recommended. المهم تصلي فأولى لك أن تستخدم السواك قبل أن تبدأ في الصلاة. قبل أن تبدأ في الصلاة. So it doesn't matter if you're praying obligatory prayer or recommended prayer. Al-Muhim, the point is, at any rate, you use the miswak at the start of that prayer. قال لأننا مأمورون عند تقرب إلى الله, because we've been commanded عند تقرب إلى الله تعالى أن نكون في حال كمال ونظاف إظهارا لشرف العبادة, because we've been commanded while we're seeking closeness to Allah that we're in the most complete affair situation. We're in the most clean of appearances. إظهارا, in order to put forth, to stand there, شرفا للعبادة, out of showing the worship nobility and honor. فإذا كان عندك ثوب مثلا لا بأس به وعندك ثوب أفضل من هذا الثوب, أولى لك أن تلبس ذلك الثوب شرفا للعبادة. So if you have two garments, one garment is okay, it's a little raggedy, but it's all right, and you have another garment that is better, it's in a better condition than the other garment, then it's better that you pray in that better garment, showing the prayer honor and nobility. أنت تقوم لله فالقيام عند الله منزلة رفيعة. القيام عند الله. So you're standing in front of Allah. So the standing in front of Allah holds a great weight. It holds a great merit. فأنت تلبس هذا الثوب الثاني لأنه أفضل من الأول. So now you wear the second garment because it's better than the first. شرفا للعبادة, out of nobility for the worship. No. طيب نكتفي بهذا. We'll stop there يا إخوان. We'll stop there بإذن الله الرحمن الرحيم. وسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.